Changing alcohol laws and downtown economic development have proved to be key ingredients for Oklahoma City's emerging beer brewing market. I invited Senator Stephanie Bice and Mayor David Holt to join me in a streetcar brewery crawl to meet the entrepreneurs responsible for these breweries and talk about the industry's economic impact on the city and state at large.
Under the old laws, you had to start a brewery, to be functional, you really had to attack it going at a full distribution model and distribute quite a bit to recoup any of your costs. It's very capital intensive to open these things up. So us being, guys that were just kind of bootstrapping it and running ourselves, this first beer that we started our 401k, because we did pull from our 401ks to get the thing started, we didn't have the access to the capital to start with that big distribution model to attack it with our own stuff. So that contract model, in and of itself has its pros and cons and all that. But if the laws would have been how they were now, we probably would have started doing a smaller tap room, the 5-7 barrel system, which you're seeing a lot of guys do now because of the new laws, which were largely championed by Senator Bice here. So thank you,
You're
as
welcome.
always, every time I see you. Those they've made everything that much more attainable. This tap room is really a cash flow center. It really helps you fund everything else that you do, and helps you grow your distribution in a slow, natural way that's way more easier too.
And let me maybe augment a little bit of what he said. I think one of the challenges that most of the breweries had prior to the passage of State Question 792 is the fact that you really had to brew two different strengths of beer to be able to sell in a grocery or retail environment versus a liquor store, because of the 3-2 provisions that were in place. So some of the larger breweries were able to do that, but again, to your point, it's incredibly cash intensive to be able to have to not only create two sort of strengths of beer, but then be able to market them. And I think now, you see their beers in a grocery store, whereas 6 or 8 months ago, that wouldn't be the case.
David, what's it like to have businesses like this that people want to come, hang out, spend time after work, especially downtown?
We've been trying for 25 years to build a downtown that's multi-use, right? So there's people working from 9 to 5, then there's people being entertained from 5 to midnight, and then there's people sleeping from 12 to 9, and there's somebody here at all times, because for the longest time, we only had 9 to 5 covered, and there was no one living here and no one eating or drinking here. It all started with maps, it continued with the progression of Bricktown, and then Bricktown was built upon by Automobile Alley and Midtown, and now you're seeing these are like these little sort of pocket areas. They're just popping up everywhere. I mean, where we are right now has been, a block that's just been offices, vacant lots, and warehouses. And these guys came in here and are redeveloping it, and now it's kind of becoming just a continuous development. I mean, I'm curious what drew you to downtown. Did it mean anything to you that there were other people doing the same thing? Was that actually helpful to have density of breweries in downtown, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think when we've gone out and traveled and we've been to other markets, you see that a lot. You see that, like those more developed record markets. We do feed off each other quite a bit. Get a lot of foot traffic. A lot of people that come here have been to Twisted Spike or Prairie, and a lot of times they get referred to us by those other breweries, and it's very symbiotic that way, where we're helping each other out. So that was a big part of it. I mean, we looked at a lot of places in different areas, and I think for us, what Automobile Alley and this kind of like Midtown intersection, for us, it was kind of already there on some level in terms of that development, even though it's still growing. You already have some of that foot traffic here, and we were excited to just jump in and be a part of it. Prairie and Twisted Spike were already here and kind of had that proven, people like breweries here, so that was a big part of it.
But what has been being down here in your first few years open, biggest blessing and biggest challenge as you guys have? I think I know.
You probably got to guess.
We may be looking at it.
Yeah, we might be staring at the biggest curse right now.
And we just opened this thing in October, so we're still very new to this area. So the biggest blessing is just like that reception to that first opening. People have been asking us for so long, when are you gonna get open, when you get open, to see the people actually finally come out and be excited as we were to see the space that we built out, and with you know, and our vision of what we wanted our tap room to be has been amazing. And yeah, just a lot of that paying off in the beginning. And yeah, Evan, you want to talk about the curse?
I would say,
Maybe the mayor would like to talk
the
about
mayor
it.
might want to talk about the street being somewhat inaccessible right now is probably our biggest challenge at the moment. But other challenges have arisen too. Just, you know, prior to being open here, we weren't running our own production facility. So learning a lot about just operating and keeping the doors open and things like that. So.
And I will say this: the street construction, it is hurtful. It has hurt us. We have felt it, but we also realize that's it's like a growing pain. I mean, the city's growing, things like this happen, so we're dealing with it the best we can, you know, and it's part of it. Yeah.
There for the longest time, it was just us in this building. It was kind of strange.
Oh, wow.
In November will be our second year open here. So we started the project about 3 years ago. And then we have a big production facility down in McAllister, Oklahoma. And that's where any of the canned beer and stuff you would see at bars and restaurants all comes from down there.
Why McAllister?
It's where it started. That's where Chalk Beer started.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like related to chalk?
Yeah, so Krebs Brewing Company, aka Chalk Beer, owns Prairie Artisan Ales. This place would have never existed without the law change. You know, I mean, the fact that we can have a brewery, then the big brewery down there is great and all, but you know, craft beer is an experience. You want people to come and taste it at the source. Literally, it goes from there to there to there, and then out of the taps. So that's about as fresh as it gets. And so for us, it's obviously a nice revenue stream, but it's also like it acts as its own marketing piece as well. So
That seems to be a common theme, I think, so far, that having your brewery is really a marketing tool for all of you to be able to promote your products and grow your market share.
yeah, the tap room is nice because it does bring in some nice cash flow. But more than anything, when Zach hired me to do this, he said, I don't really even care if it makes any money. He said it's a place for people to be able to come and experience the brand. So heck, if it breaks even, that's a win for us. And it's doing better than that.
I know that Prairie is one of the more widely distributed outside of Oklahoma of anything in Oklahoma.
We're sort of an anomaly. We're not a very big brewery barrelage wise. You know, we make about 13 or 14,000 barrels a year, which in the grand scheme of things is really not very much. That probably puts us third or fourth in Oklahoma, I bet, somewhere around there. But our distribution footprint is so wide. Early on, we signed an agreement with a national craft beer distributor called Shelton Brothers. And so we would ship beer to them, and then they were responsible for getting it all over the U.S. and all over the world. For a brewery that is not very big, that's kind of weird, you know, normally. But that's kind of our model. We're different. We kind of keep you wanting more, right? We don't make a lot of any one thing. We just make a lot of different things. One thing that we know about craft beer drinkers is that they always want something new. So they rarely ever go into a bar and drink the same beer twice in one sitting. They rarely ever go into a bar multiple times and go and have the same beer. They always ask what's new, what's seasonal, what's next. And so it's a ton more work to do it the way we do it. But for us, I do think that that's sort of the way it was from the beginning when it was really small. And the model works, so I think it's just too scary to change at this point, right? Like we have basically 3 beers that we do make year round, but then everything else is driven by this idea of people wanting to try something different
But I also
every
think
time.
that this has been a successful business model for you all. You all have done incredibly well by trying new things and thinking outside of the box and doing things out that people weren't really expecting.
Tell folks a little bit about kind of what the city does to try and attract businesses and bring them in to help.
Well, I mean, candidly, a business this small was probably not recruited. You know, we tried to we tried to just build a city that people would find value in, and I think we've done that. I mean, Bricktown Brewery is a part of that, going back 25 years. If we hadn't built this city that we have, they might have, McAllister's not too far from places like Dallas. I mean, they might have gone a different direction, but now if you're in Oklahoma, and this is true even when businesses are based in Tulsa, they feel like they got to play in Oklahoma City. It's just a testament to what we built over the last 25 years.
Zach saw that the city was going in such it's just, Bricktown was kind of the start of what downtown had to offer entertainment-wise. And now you've got all these districts, and now they're all connected. That was the complaint that people had back then coming into Bricktown was, hey, we'd really love to check out other parts of the city. Is there any way to get there? Well, you can walk, but it's 100 degrees outside, and, it's not ideal. So now, being able to connect it all is so cool.
Mayor Holt, Senator Bice, thanks for going with us today down around town to see a few of the breweries here in Oklahoma City. I was wondering what you guys thought about the day and some of the sights and things you saw and things you learned while touring these places.
Well, I think it just goes to show that Oklahoma City is really growing and thriving. The economic opportunities are abundant. You've seen many of the businesses that we've visited are already talking about expansion, and I think it's a great time to be a small business in downtown Oklahoma City.
I'm mayor and I'm father of two little kids, so the last thing I have time to do, unfortunately, is go to cool hipster breweries in downtown Oklahoma City. And so this was a great opportunity because I'm really impressed with the quality of development, the fact that even though it was Friday at 3 o'clock, they were all pretty busy. I mean, it's clearly a fast emerging aspect of downtown life in Oklahoma City, and thanks to changes at the Capitol and thanks to investments we've made here in downtown Oklahoma City, it's been made possible. And it's great to see these young entrepreneurs providing a great new benefit to people of all ages. Well, not all ages, over 21, but people of adult age here in Oklahoma City.
Was there anything that surprised you from some of the conversations we had with those brewers and owners, or things you didn't expect to find out?
The idea that they're already looking at expansion. Yeah. The new laws have really only taken effect over the last, 9 months or 2 years, depending on which laws you're referring to. And the fact that they're already looking at expansion or more capital investment in their businesses was a bit surprising. I would have thought that it would have taken longer to get to those points. And I also think the number of breweries, we have 47 breweries that have been opened across the state of Oklahoma, and many of them here in downtown Oklahoma City, and that number is growing.
I will say something. I don't know if it's surprising, but maybe it is not intuitive. They're very collaborative, at least at this stage of the life cycle for this trend here in Oklahoma City. They all kind of see some of the same customers doing just what we did, riding the streetcar and doing a brewery crawl, and it was nice to see that they don't have a problem with that. They're happy to kind of tell customers, hey, you should go try this one down the road a little bit. We'll see how long that lasts, but right now it's a very collaborative and supportive atmosphere. It's a moment right now for breweries in Oklahoma City, and I'm glad we got to experience it. I certainly encourage others to do so as well.
Is that at all?
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And everybody else will have to come out and check out Oklahoma City for their downtown brewery experience. So, awesome.